Well, we want to dive into relationships right now, and we want to talk about the roadblocks to us actually, or you being able to find love. Okay. Many people, of course, are single in this point in time. There's always going to be someone who's looking for love. But I guess in that process of trying to find love, sometimes you can almost feel like there's some sort of resistance. There's something that is standing in the way. There's some sort of obstacle or another. And we want to kind of unpack those today and understand what could those be. Are they brought on by our own selves, by our own personalities and characters, or is there something that should be done about them? Well, my guest in studio today is Benjamin Zulu. Karibu sana to the show.
Asante.
Great to have you here. All right. So people are struggling to find the one. And it gets to a point where now they begin to even doubt themselves. Like, am I just not good enough for a relationship? What would you say are some of the roadblocks? Let's start with one roadblock to actually being able to find love. This is a good person. They've kept themselves well. They're not 25 for under 25 or under 30 for gentlemen. So the time is right for them. But things just seem to be taking a while.
One of the things we need to mention, now that we are entering this season, there's a funny correlation with loneliness, lacking love, looking for love, and this festive season.
Bibiwa Christmas.
Exactly. There are people who hire others to go home and show the aunties and the mothers who keep asking questions. Just show up there, and it's on pay.
Yeah.
There comes a time, this season is when people try to, the year is coming to a close and people are taking stock of what they've achieved and somebody's trying to remember what they've done. So in case last Christmas you were also searching, this Christmas has found you still searching, and you're wondering what's wrong, the first roadblock is fear. And Joyce, we cannot emphasize fear enough. Fear of intimacy, fear of trusting, fear of opening up, fear of being vulnerable, fear of being hurt, fear of being heartbroken again, fear of especially that which has injured you in the past, and instead of unpacking and processing it and healing, you hid it.
Yeah.
Don't talk about that. We need to remind people that you can be single practically. You can be very charming, but you're emotionally closed in. That alone. Fear of opening up and letting people know. And people pass by, and I told you the funny thing is, when you are very vibrant, and people begin to see you as everybody else. Oh, this lady is such a good colleague at work. Oh, such a good sister, such a prayer partner. Oh, she's such a mentor, mother figure. They see you about everything else.
It's not as
except
romantic.
a potential mate.
Oh,
fact, they come to you for advice on how they can manage their relationships, how their careers can, and you're being given attention, but not the attention
You're
you
like,
wanted.
I'm here. Look at me.
Exactly. Even a guy whom you thought you were flowing is coming to consult you about his funny relationship.
Imagine.
And going on. Do you remember that funny story when you were in a high school campus? The pretty girls were always in company of another less pretty girl who acted as a bodyguard. And when the boys are trying to come to the one, she's the one who is defending it. You have to go through that one to reach this one. In life, you can play that unenviable role of being the way to the ones who are being wanted. And you are thought in the market. The problem here is you are afraid of being seen as available. One of the things I told you is, once flip your mind.
Okay.
To solve the problem of fear is accept to take risk. There's no love without risk. Those people are so, I don't want to be hurt. No, I can't risk being hurt again. No. If you're too afraid, the way you're afraid of being hurt, you're afraid of being loved.
Okay.
That fear blocks both. Okay, you won't feel pain, neither will you feel pleasure. Right. The way you build walls, you keep away everybody, including potential mates.
Right.
And this is primarily important for people who got their fingers burnt in the past, who delved into dating immaturely, prematurely, without knowledge, without more so 23-year-olds. They are notorious for irrational, life-shattering decisions because they have graduated and they have a job and they feel they're mature, they're independent. But I'm featuring many. I'm running a show where I'm featuring many who tell me, I did not need any curriculum. I sensed myself, I'm still too young. I can't risk my dreams. I can't risk my heart. I could see my relative, my friend, everybody has a person around them who has messed up. Surely, Joyce, you just need to be observant. I tell people, in this country, in our generation, you don't need to be a genius to know what can go wrong. Just open your eyes. You hear enough stories, you see. So the first roadblock is, maybe you are still alone because you're very afraid of taking the risk of loving and allowing yourself to be loved. Okay. All right? The second roadblock is ego. Now, ego is associated with the men, but I'm coming to women. when we see ego, men's ego, the ego is that pride of sort of, you don't want to depend on anyone. The people work to be independent and they work to be self-sufficient, but it's not coming from a healthy place. I have always encouraged people not to go to love when they have nothing to their name. You need to develop yourself substantially so that you're bringing something to the table. But after you develop yourself, you're supposed to go and find another who has developed themselves. I was happy alone. You are happy alone. We are happier together. We are stronger together. Our union makes us now flourish. And we are not saying everybody must marry. We are saying if this is your goal, you're supposed to come when you have evolved to a certain extent to know yourself and where you're going. Now, ego is a block when you find yourself, you want to be loved, but you do not want to think yourself that you are weak, you are needy. You want to act like you're self-sufficient. At the same time, you're ambivalent because you wish somebody loved you, but the moment they at you, have you seen those people who you differ a little bit and they start to show you how much favor they've done you, inviting you in their life, and you have disappointed them, and they even regret what kind of that ego talking.
Yeah.
And sometimes it sounds like it may sound like confidence, but the boundary between confidence and pride is narrow. But the difference is very wide, because pride is a person who is self-sufficient. At the same time, they also wanted to be loved. Yeah. Ego is a big block. For men, it manifests in form of wanting to say, this is my life, man.
Yeah.
And when men meet, we talk like that, but at the back of mind, we know. And I told you why men's day is always low-key compared to women's day. It's because the hero in our stories, women make us more than we make them. That's the sad story. In reality, we are supposed to build each other up so that we are celebrating each other. When the day for the guy comes, I'm so happy how much contribution is done to my life. When the day for the woman comes, I celebrate her. But when the day for the men comes, men abandon their families. They left their children out. They heartbroken women. So we are just politely quiet. So people are conveniently distracted because they have nothing to say about the dad. They have nothing to say about the husband. But when day comes for the women, so the ego of men, and when it comes to women ego, and I'm doing a series about narcissists, and one of the things I'm doing is about female narcissists. Now, when you realize you have so much insecurity and the need to put others down, and to shine in every context, to shine in every atmosphere, you realize as a woman that's the ego problem, insecurity, a need to be, in fact, narcissism makes you a counterfeit human being. You are going reverse. You're just going the opposite. Other people are supposed to be selfless. We are learning how to take care of others. You want everybody to take care of you. You are self-focused, self-absorbed. And you think, and the funny thing is, narcissists do admit. In fact, I want to host a few. Narcissists, a few. Really? Yeah. Sometimes they admit it because they're almost proud of it. All right?
Wow.
Sometimes it's almost regarded as a superiority. Superior. So another roadblock you're going to find is when you have not processed past hurts and childhood, we call them SEEs, adverse childhood experiences. When you have not processed the pains you went through, when you have not, sometimes, honestly, the reason you're alone, Joyce, sometimes it's so painful when I'm working with a 40-year-old woman who still can't date.
Because of a childhood experience.
Exactly. She grew up parenting her parents.
Wow.
Mothering the mother. And even today, the mother is a thorn in the flesh. The father is a thorn in the flesh. One of them was telling me, I don't understand why my mother keeps giving birth to children and abandoning them to me. So she's telling me I'm raising children that are not mine. And my mother won't listen. And I can't abandon them. I can't, So she has to start zero. She educates this one. Soon another one is on the way. So that person is so hurt. At some point, by midlife, they spend their life almost like asleep. That part of that's supposed to start their own family is asleep. They don't want to think that way. We start the program, I do life coaching. So we start the program, we're talking about the purpose of your life, talking about the healing, and then we are coming to dating. When you reach there, okay, can we take a while with this one? I'm not there yet. That place is still numb. Numb. So if you have not processed, if you have not gone through the things that could have held you back, things that, and sometimes it's unfortunate, Joyce, because you have to correct things that it's not you who made them go wrong.
Sure.
Some of us are born to mess, and it's our job to clear it up. They face me and ask me, where did I go wrong? And the only answer, Joyce, to these kind of things is faith in God. Only God can help you. Joyce, we come to God when many of us have sinned and we need to be forgiven.
Yeah.
But others come when they've been sinned against.
Yeah.
And they need to be healed.
Yeah.
I have met people whose souls is so wounded. Can you say to me, I'm 40 years now. All my life I've just been trying to deal with the mess at home. Successfully, I've educated them. Now they are married, they have their own families. But what has become of me? You know, but I can show her, you could have dated still. I have met men who are 45 and he's trying to start dating now because he was carrying his family.
Wow.
Especially firstborn sons or the most reliable son. And they have a very engulfing mother. A mother who engulfs them like the husband surrogate, call them surrogate husband. Minus the sex element, he plays the man in her life. And because she has authority over him, she wants to control him for as long as possible. Even when she finds a good woman he could marry, the mother that wants to see competition pushes her away and frustrates her. And that kind of man, if he's not aware, he will delay in life for mistakes not of his own.
I love that you've brought that up, though, too, that, you know, sometimes our emotions, it's not always a science. Sometimes that's the whole essence of emotion is that vulnerability.
Exactly.
And I love how you've said there's some hurts that only God can actually sort out and heal. So very interesting pointer there. And maybe someone is watching and hopefully they're thinking that through. Maybe there's a hurt that has been in your life, and no matter how many times they say sorry or how much counseling you go to, it's really a decision by you to surrender it up to God and have him heal your heart as well. But we're going to take a break now, Benjamin. And when we come back, I want us to also talk about lust as a roadblock. Wow. Also control and insecurities. I think those ones are some big ones that we tend to hear quite a bit about here on the show. So 111-444-111 is the SMS line. Also comment on Facebook at Switch TV Kenya, and I'll be back after this. All right, everybody, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce. And I'm here with Benjamin Zulu. We're talking about relationships and the roadblocks to you finding love. And we've covered a couple of them already, fear being top on the list, and also ego. But I want us to dive into a few others as well. And maybe we can begin with relationship checklists. This one is very common. You hear how people have a list and they want him to be this, to have that, to have been where, to do X, Y, Z. And that list can tend to be very, very long.
A limiting factor. And one of the things is that we list those things from where? Our minds. Can I start warning people? Can you delete that point you said, I want to get married by 30? I must have a baby by 28. That you wrote it as a child before you knew what you wanted to become. The same way you used to do when I grow up, I want to be a doctor, a neurosurgeon, a pilot, you know. The same way you dream those things without knowing how the world functions. When you grow up, adjust your plans. So one of the things, if you realize you have listed and you know, I also had a list, and when I went to the market, I checked, and I'm trying to check, hey, somebody comes, interviewers, but I realized nobody was coming for the interview. Nobody was interested. So what I did, I folded the paper, put it aside, and I started basically, is anybody interested in talking to me? Can you start by asking what you're bringing yourself? And what you're bringing, who can work with that? People keep asking me, can I marry from the higher social class? Can I marry from the other tribe? I tell them, hey, you are too theoretical. First, go out and find out if anybody is interested in you.
Maybe they don't even want to talk to you.
You are assuming you have people to choose. I have one from this tribe, another. Nobody is interested. First of all, go search. When you find, Joyce, if you find a person you can have endless conversations.
Yeah. A
person you can laugh and giggle, and at the middle of the night you can just talk. You can tell them anything and be vulnerable with them. You can share your dreams and they encourage you. A person whom you see the world the same way. You complement your energy. I mean, time flies when you're talking. If you meet that person, will the tribe matter? Will the race matter? I tell them you are too theoretical. First, go to the market. When you finally meet a person whom you have that level of compatibility and they're willing to spend their life with you, you cannot start talking about the nonsense of, I'm 2 years older than him. I hear that a lot from women. When you remember, he's younger than me.
Well, actually, was it yesterday or the day before, I got an interesting SMS of a lady who really loves this guy, loves his character, she said, but then that he's shorter than her, you know, so on that list always tends to be these superficial attraction.
Shorter is important. Let me talk about shorter.
I was trying to help him out. Oh no.
Just don't marry a person whom we are a little bit embarrassed to appear with in public.
Okay, yeah, that's what she said.
That's too important. What we are talking is about.
But she loves his character.
If you love one side of me, what will you do with the other? Sooner or later, it will start being an itchy place. All right? When I have to kiss you and I have to jump or stand on a stool, ask you to bend, meet me midway. And I have to hug you on I'm standing on my toes to reach you. Sometimes, again, we are not saying you ignore your appetite or your flavor or your preference, because love is sometimes is vain like appetite. Why do you like rice more than ugali or githeri? You can't give us a scientific reason. It's just my preference. I grew up with it, So those things of I like the way, and I did not know that myself.
Yeah.
Until a person told me the way you are so uncomfortable with our body size, it will become an issue eventually. You need a person who you are basically happy with the way they look. They may not be perfect, but they meet what you want. Imagine. I ask people to work with 70%. Superficial things are like the fact that he is younger. Can you see the years when you're standing there? If I remind people, you were not there when you were born. Yeah? Maybe they told you the dates incorrectly. Yeah? Okay. Sometimes even your mother was not aware. She was given papers later. Oh, it was on Wednesday when you... So don't give too much superficiality to tribe differences, comment differences, social class, age. When you realize both of you you do rhyme, you flow. Remember, you might never... And I tell people, if you obey your father and your mother, you fear them because then you can't marry from that tribe. Remember, you miss this person for life. And you'll end up being bitter with yourself, bitter with your parents. The moment my parents tell me you can't marry this girl, they're declaring enmity against me.
Yeah.
So what I do is I'll tell them, thank you for your opinion, but unfortunately I have to marry this one.
A man shall leave his father and mother and cleave.
Exactly. So politely, while honoring my parents, I will still follow my own. Yeah. So checklist is very dangerous if it is limiting and it is superficiality. All right. And there's something else you said about what did you say about
lust?
Now, lust is greed. Lust is wanting everything. Wanting more than you can get. Let me remind us that your partner will come to meet your need, but not your greed, because your greed is insatiable. Greed is that desire, the desire of control, the desire of dimensions. With men, it manifests in terms of, he has in his head, this girl was a blonde face like Joyce, but he has cute legs like Mary, he has the hips like Immaculate. Then you put together a concoction, a cocktail of a woman who does not exist. And now you start looking for that. And then every time you see a woman who has that element, you're after her. You're after her. That is lust, that's not love. Love is a combination of learning the person's personality and how they look, and together you say, this is the best I can find in this life. I hope we reminded people that this world was never meant to meet every desire of yours. Right. It's impossible. Vitu zingine ngojea mbinguni. Okay, for ladies, it is wanting a guy who has cars and money, at the same time wanting a guy who has character and stability. We are not saying cars and money are not compatible, but you're saying some achievements come over time. Get a person who has the capacity, the potential to move with you and then grow with them. But let's differentiate the difference between small beginnings and a stuck brother.
Okay.
We encourage you to start with a brother who is starting out in life.
Yeah.
But the difference between a brother who is starting out is that he's hardworking, he's driven, he has a vision. You can see that he is on the move. He does not have money. The similarity is that the stuck brother, the lazy one, also has no money. So they have little or no money. And you have to support them yourself. Okay. But the difference is the lazy brother is contented and settled. And you can't sense a drive. He keeps saying, small beginnings. Don't worry, future will be bright. You keep saying, I'm taking things slowly, one day at a time. You can't force things. What can you see for next year? You can't force future. Just flow with the flow. You never know what happens tomorrow. A person who's vague and uncommittal and evasive, that's a very dangerous person. In fact, you carry them, you'll have to pay every bill. It's you will carry the weight. Wow. The same way the person is addicted to alcohol, addicted to funny things like, many women, addicted to gambling, you carry a person who is addicted to anything, you're also carrying the addiction with the package. Yeah. But a person who is driven, but they're not there yet, but you can see the potential. It's a discernment, and we must all have the discernment.
Yeah. All right? Yeah. Absolutely. I want us to move on to another roadblock right now, which is control.
Now, control is a reverse form of fear. Control is when I'm afraid of letting you, releasing myself and yielding and submitting. You hear those women who rail against submission? They say, no, there's nothing. They mistake submission with subduing. Yeah. To submit is to voluntarily yield to the authority of another and subordinate yourself, take a supporting role in context. Remember, I told you my woman cannot submit in every context. In context is generally I'm the leader, but in some areas she's better than me. Like let's say designing the house, designing my own clothes, with the food, deciding something she's way better. So it's me to submit to her leadership in that context. You get it? But in terms of other things, like let's say like the financial drive for the family, the projects you need to do, I am the one taking the leadership there. She will contribute, so of course. The car cannot be driven by the two people at the same time. So if you have a problem letting another take lead in anything, and you're so afraid, most of those who grew up to see your parents, like your father, drop the ball and the family collapsed, and you're so afraid of trusting another. You must control. What did you do with that money? No, I can't. No. That control can be very repulsive.
Right.
The cure is find therapy. The moment you realize or people give you feedback, you're too much controlling. You're too afraid of this. You keep interfering. You keep messing. The moment you see that, seek therapy quickly because it can delay you.
Okay.
Remember we said, if you do not deal with childhood traumas, your relationships will expose them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
That's the interesting thing about love. It's like, imagine a bird, a little bird in your hand. You don't want to squeeze it too tightly. You'll suffocate it. That's
right.
too much control. You'll
You're right.
suffocate it and you'll kill it. And as soon as it has any freedom, it will fly off.
Exactly.
At the same time, you don't want to hold it so loosely.
You're like, so
that
it's like you're not
there.
interested.
Your presence is not felt. It will
So
also
it's the
fly
balance
away.
of being engaged but not being enmeshed. All right? It's the balance of us being connected but not swallowing each other up.
Yeah.
We said love is a dance. It's not an embrace and we are there holding. It's a dance to the same rhythm. You know, if you view life as a journey, a lover is a person with whom you stumble through life with. A person you're doing life with, walking the journey of life with, talking. And that's why I tell people, Joyce, can we warn people keep telling me, this guy loves me, but he can go 3 days without talking to me. What do you call love then? I think he loves me and I also love him, but he does not support me in my projects and does not give me anything. So define why you say he loves you.
Yeah.
Love is communication. We are doing life together, Joyce.
Yeah.
We must talk constantly. I mean, except when there's a reason. And after every 1 or 2 hours, I miss to update you. I miss to check on what you're doing. It's not supposed to be forced. It's not supposed to be me demanding, please talk to me. No, it's supposed to be a flow, a natural flow. And just, I tell people, you know this is a true person when there's more giggles and laughter and easy and joking and ease and in windows and glances. And when you're in a crowd, something happens and you glance at each other because you know that reflects something you say.
Yeah.
You're doing life together. That is what, you cannot go silent a whole day. Another day. No, there's no love there. And I tell those people who get annoyed and they go quiet that long. Remember, you are piling up things. Another problem can happen. And I do not say it is not possible. I've realized women are fond of going quiet, Cold War, when they're annoyed, when they're in a bad mood. I do not take away that right. But please, let us know you just needed a time. Let us know it's not about us and it's not a cold punishment.
What about if we move on to insecurities?
Insecurities is when you have got paranoia and imaginations, and when I'm away from you, imagining who I am with, and you cannot imagine, and you might check my phone, I might check that. That thing, Joyce, is very, very anti-charming, anti-seductive. It pushes me away when I feel suspected. Another problem is you might push people to do the very thing you're suspecting them of, because I think I'm already being punished without doing it. I might as well do it, so that I endure the punishment with courage. So if you realize you have unjustified fear, and we are not saying we are not supposed to be cautious and watchful, okay? We must be territorial and take care of that which is ours, all right? That is a healthy thing. Every love is territorial. You safeguard that which is yours. But when you realize that every time you are afraid, every time your fear is disproportionate to the suspicion, now you need help. You need therapy. You need healing. You must, and I must warn people against going to talk to people who also don't know what you're talking about, and they don't know how to say when they don't know. Joyce, this, especially the brethren who are evangelical, they don't know their limits. They'll convert everybody to a demon and satanic bondage and an offering and a prayer and a fasting, and you're just dealing with insecurities that have a root in past experiences in your life, that have root in things you've seen. And I want to warn people who consume too much media of soap operas and betrayals. You begin to think the world operates like that.
Tell them.
Some people just into these love novels and soaps, and you watch so much, you begin to think that's how the world operates. So either you begin to expect me to show up like Ringo,
like Alejandro,
or to some day vanish the same way they always vanish. You think we're acting, you don't know that was an act. Their real life doesn't look like that. But when you consume it too much, it informs your subconscious. The subconscious is very dangerous. It swallows what you expose to it continually. And it becomes your frame of reference. It becomes your way of operation. So the warning here is, can you check if you hear your partner complaining, or two people giving you feedback that you are unlovable, something is wrong, Be very careful. Go seek therapy. And can we normalize seeking help?
Yeah.
Can we make it ordinary? That the same way you can suffer toothache and you go to a dentist, the same way you can suffer heartache, delay in finding the right one, and find life coach. In Kenya, we're not yet used to them, but I said one reason we are that word is because we do not value the things that the people value to become healthy. Mental health is paramount. You know, love is a matter of the heart. When you are disturbed in your love life, you can't be balanced even in the workplace.
Yeah.
Every now and then you stare into space. Have you seen those people? You leave them and they stare into space. A blank
But
stare.
I want to ask you about something you've mentioned there as far as our subconscious. And I think it's very important because, and I've mentioned this before here with you, there are those people who are surrounded by people who've had bad relationships. But you know how every squad sort of has their king or
You're
their
right.
queen?
You're right.
And that queen is, of course, saying how all men are dogs and na. Those things also seep into your subconscious. And if
Exactly.
you're not careful, you're using someone else's negative experience to block your own positive experience, because you're allowing the things that they say to get into your head and to influence how you think about other people.
One lady told me her mother has 8 sisters. There are 9 girls and all of them are single mothers.
Wow.
And I told her, the chances of you becoming a single mother are 90% if you don't change your mind, because that is your normal.
Yeah.
And before we finished the degree, she had a child. She was a single mother. And I told her, you don't have to follow that path, because you have heard it repeatedly that men are unreliable, men are not dependable, but it's not all the men in the world.
Right.
It's the men these women
are
are
good
dealt
men
with.
around.
There are good men. Another lady asked me this morning that, what can I do? I'm 25. I only connect with guys who are older, and most of them are married. The younger ones, the married ones have money and they can help me here and there. You are 25, you are starting life. Get a guy who is mature and available. They are rare, but they are there. They're not easy to find. You're just looking around and saying, how come only married men see me? They are the majority. You need to go and get whom you need. The day you are going to buy a car or get a house, do you find 20 options the first day? No, all the houses you find are occupied, surely. This is the way of life. I wonder why people ask the obvious things.
Yeah.
This is the way of life. When you go to buy a car, you're going to find most of the cars you can't afford them, others are already bought.
Yeah.
The cars that are available for you, it's always a search. It takes work.
Yeah.
So you must not only have the money or the capability or the virtue of being a wife, but also engage and be patient. It can take a year or two, because it's a lifelong thing. People are very patient when looking for a job. When they're looking for jobs, that because they know how it goes.
Yeah.
You keep applying, keep waiting, keep
You know there are few.
You know. I wonder why we don't bring the same mindset to dating. To find a vacant person who is suitable for you,
Yeah.
it's also a work, a research. So let's ask these people that do not be so impatient and so afraid, and you're running and until you don't realize that this is also supposed to be a journey. And one of the problems I realize with especially us men, because we have grown up thinking that women are easy to find because they're always everywhere. When you begin to look for a wife, you realize not every woman is a wife.
That's right.
There are many women who are wild materials. They are not tameable.
Actually, they're who?
Wild. I mean, you can't put her in one place. She can't settle home. She cannot sit at home, Joyce. These ones, and many of them are very charismatic. They're charming. Ha! But she hates the idea of submitting. And I tell her, marriage is not a must. Please don't capture a brother.
But then no one is forcing you.
Don't capture a brother and put him in a hell.
Yeah.
Because you find that he has a good heart. Because these women who are controlling and domineering, they like to get a cooperative and decent guy who is responsible. Those guys, and because they are usually, they are very good-hearted but dull-witted. They cannot see. they are being trapped. Many times, the lady will rush intimacy to entangle him, be very available, and the guy will flow thinking, finally, somebody's giving me attention, and it's a trap. In this world, the same saying that when the deal is too good, think twice. You must be very careful.
Yeah. As we get ready to wrap up here, I want to go back to insecurities for just a little bit, because there are those people who, it's not that they are the ones trying to, or let me rephrase that and say, there are those who are insecure to the point that they feel they are not deserving of this person who actually does love them. And maybe their partner, they actually have a good thing going.
Imagine.
Their partner knows their weaknesses, is willing to work with them, willing to go the course with them, but they keep just being there like, oh, I don't deserve you, oh, I'm not.
Can we talk about that, Joyce? Let's say this.
You can put somebody off. You're like, well, I'm trying, I'm still here, but it's almost like they're chasing away love.
Joyce, that happens so much. And I want to warn us that the moment a person tells you I don't deserve you, from the word go. From the word go. There's a difference between, Joyce, I can tell you I don't deserve you out of appreciation.
Yeah.
To tell you I'm just overwhelmed. Thank
But
you
don't
for
tell
being...
me that every day. Because I'll
Exactly.
start to believe it.
I was trying to differentiate.
Yeah.
The difference here is every now and then I am overwhelmed.
Yes.
You are such a blessing to me. I will never have won you, and you're a blessing in my life. I appreciate you. You get the difference?
Yes.
The other difference, this is appreciation. The other one of insecurity and pushing away is when, no, like me, I can't, you're too good for me. That fear it's low self-esteem, a feeling of not deserving. And however much you may pity that person, Joyce, imagine you can't live with them.
Yeah.
Imagine it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
Same
have
way you can't do missionary dating. You can't be therapist dating. Like
to
you can't.
evangelize, to convert them
Yeah.
by dating them.
Yeah.
Because I told people, if you convert them, they are still baby in the faith. You have been here for years.
Yeah.
Now, both of you are Christians, but he's class 1. You are form 4.
Yeah.
And try to make it work. He has years to evolve. And you are not sure that he will grow. Growth is a journey, and he can quit it.
Yeah. Wow. Benjamin, I want to thank you so much for your time as always. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. Val here says, I'm so grateful for Full Circle with Joyce, especially relationships. And you say, it's really helped me. I broke up with my boyfriend who was holding me back from achieving my dreams because he wanted a family. I am now free and working on a book. I am 23. If you were older, I was going to get a bit scared. But then she said 23. I'm like, okay,
Thank you.
23 years old. Go you. I'm writing a book.
Go,
Go
23.
you.
You have 2 years. I want you to run fast and furious and recover the years you wasted.
That's right. Benjamin, how can people find you?
Benjamin Zulu KE everywhere.
Yes. Asante sana.
Most
We
welcome.
do appreciate you, and thank you guys as well for watching this segment. We're going to take a break now as we get ready for our final segment of the day. This is Full Circle with Joyce. Stay tuned.